I've been trying to, finagle my way any way I can to, meet with you regarding shoes. And why do I do that? Like, everyone's like, what do you want to sell shoes to them so bad? I was like, that's it. That's a whole story within itself. The amount of content I've seen is just absurd. But so I sell to celebrities and stuff at this point. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's not just, making a quick buck and stuff. The problem I'm having is retention, right? I met Rick Ross on Tuesday. He had a book signing in Union Square.
Yep.
Got his contact and everything. He's like, yeah, for sure. Didn't hear back.
Of course.
Chris D'Elia, a comedian, meet and greet, same kind of thing.
So it's not retention, because retention I think about is after a transaction.
Yeah, so once
it's actually getting the first transaction, right?
So with Rick Ross, it's the first, but it's only been less than a week, right?
Yeah, of course.
Then,
and it's Rick Ross. It's likely that you may not get the first, which is fine too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, some people I have made one sale to.
But not the second.
And they're like, yeah, do this, or but they're mainly Miami or whatever. I'm like, I'll fly out. They're like, oh, I'm busy this time, right? So I think you might have so I have a really interesting point of view on this. Mm-hmm. I think you might be picking the wrong people. Mm-hmm. Let me explain. It's much more fun to sell sneakers to Rick Ross than it is to Rick Rothstein at Goldman Sachs. Mm-hmm. But Rick Ross and everybody else that's swaggy and cool comes with complete and utter ridiculousness when it comes to the organization of transactions, unless you're on their hip. Yeah.
The question is, do you want to sell? I think you find, now on the flip side, 5% of celebrities are quite normal and super anal and do want you to be the guy. From my perspective, if I was part of your business, I would say get 3 people that are cool, at all costs. But then to actually, if this is the business you want to build, I would go after Wall Street and executives, because that's just much more reliable and much easier to deal with.
I mean, yeah, because
it's funny. I don't buy a lot of sneakers. Is one of the weird things. Even though I have good pairs and don't even wear them, well, those are mine. But yeah, those are mine, and I'm not against it. I'll honestly 100%. I'll have D-Rock help me. I'm thrilled to buy a pair off of you. A, because I know that you can then say you did, and that may help you, and I'm thrilled to get a swaggy pair of sneakers that are legit. But I think that's the strategy you need to think about. If this is the business you're trying to build, which, by the way, I think is truly a business somebody can make $1 million a year on and be happy as fuck because they love it. But I think the way you do it is you have 3 celebrities, but then your actual clientele is 42-year-old wannabes.
Yeah.
Does that relate to Vayner at all?
Not necessarily, but it is how I think of. It is just a good. It's a human service-based good strategy. Do the hair for Beyonce, but actually then have 4,000 normal high net worth people wanting to do it because you have Beyonce.
I'm asking selfishly just because is that how you grew? Is that how you got there? Or was
no, not again, because this was B2B. Mm-hmm. But if I was building for example, if I started a wine concierge service, something I thought about back in the day, where I'm your personal wine guy and make a vig on top of, you give me a net dollar amount, I make sure you don't overpay and I keep the margin. If I get 50 guys giving me and gals giving me 500,000 and I go to wine stores and say I've got real bank to really buy wine, so I need a real discount. And if I was to do that model, I would absolutely go to Jay-Z and LeBron and whatever and eat it and lose to leverage everybody else and be I'm doing this for Jay-Z and yesterday I got razzed on LinkedIn for free spec work on creative, and I'm I do it every day still. Attention is leverage, just like money.
You got me on TikTok too. I posted a video of me making burgers. I got 8,000 views and I have 6 followers.
Because that's how underpriced attention works.
I'm telling my dad to get on TikTok. He didn't even.
TikTok is the #1 move for everybody that looks like the 4 of you.
Yeah.
So in terms of
it's the #1 move.
In terms of B2B, is it similar where you got the rock stars, Pepsi, everything, and then you have the small?
It doesn't work at that level.
Really?
It doesn't hurt.
Is it because it's hard to do?
No, it just doesn't carry as much. They're big boys and girls. They're just big boys and girls. Again, cliche 44-year-old who was never that cool on Wall Street, who wants to buy sneakers, thinks it's cool that his plug is also the plug for LeBron or Rick Ross or whatever. Pepsi likes that you work with Chase, so because but and to your question, it didn't hurt that we had Pepsi and GE early on, especially when you're really early. But it doesn't have the same level of delta it does in the personal space.